Hello and welcome to the Crown Breakdown, Season 4, Episode 4. We are Hayden and Liz, and yeah,
Yes, welcome back. Welcome back. We
welcome
are
back.
continuing with The Crown, one of one of my favorite dramas. But now we've hit episode 4 and time has jumped. We are now 1982.
Yes,
Charles and Diana got married in 81. We are now in 82. And this episode is entitled Favorites. Now,
yes.
as
With
we've been
you,
started
because it's British.
Yes, with the U in it because we're British. So, as always, Liz, first thoughts, first impressions of the episode?
So, the main theme of the episode is having favorite children. And I'm like, I know it's true. Like, even when I was nannying, I had my favorites. But, like, part of me is just like, do I have a favorite parent? Wait, do I have a
Do I
favorite
have
parent? And so it's just like like playing favorites and everything. And for me, I'm somebody who always wanted to be the favorite and always wanted to be the best, like in terms of not only family, but also relationships and friendships and everything like that. And so it kind of like, it made me a little uncomfortable just because like I always wanted to be the best and the favorite. And so it's just like, especially watching, we'll get into it, but watching the daughter of Margaret Thatcher, just her being like, seriously, I know that he is your favorite, but God darn, mom, why do you have to be so anti-woman? Is it because of your mother? Or, and it's just like,
Oh
oh
yeah,
God.
and
Oh
yeah, it goes there. It
yeah.
does that. So, one of the things I really appreciate is the underlying theme of this episode. So this episode's deep. And this episode I wrote down, it deals with two main things. It deals with family and an ugly
Yeah.
side of the family of when you have multiple children, do you have a favorite? But it also deals with this idea of it has commentary of their then relationship to the Commonwealth and the country. So the Queen
Yeah.
is all about doing nothing, not showing anything. We don't show emotion, and she kind of
Mhm.
has weird relationships with her kids, but in
Mhm.
turn she's really great at her job being queen and
Yeah.
overseeing government and meeting prime ministers and making sure things work great. She's not good. She doesn't make laws. She signs laws. She doesn't make laws. But one thing that I
Yeah.
find funny is she's comfortable with doing nothing and letting things play out and things eventually work
Hmm.
itself out. Where Margaret
Yeah.
Thatcher cannot
Control
do that.
everything.
She has to control
Control
everything.
everything.
And it's this wonderful dynamic of the two people at the head and both struggling with the idea of, do I act or do I just let it play out?
Hmm.
So I appreciated that other commentary of, we get to see both the familial relationships with both the prime minister and the queen, and
Yeah.
but also this idea, it's the background that's happening is the precursor to the Falklands War, and
Hmm.
that's sort of the one connective tissue of actual history that is happening, and
Yeah.
Margaret Thatcher's having problems of, do we just let it go? Do we just say, ho ha ha, we'll just be over here? Or do we reprimand?
Yeah.
And all her ministers are saying, don't do anything, let it play out. But she's like, no, but the queen's also used to not doing anything. But also, some of her kids don't like that she doesn't do anything and is cold. And so it's this wonderful
Yeah.
dynamic of,
Yeah.
do you do nothing or do you do everything? And I appreciated
Yeah.
that it talked about it.
Yeah. So for plot wise for this episode, we've got kind of three main plots happening, I would say. One, you have the plot of Margaret Thatcher's son is racing in this big international, but mostly starts in France, like auto race, and he goes missing.
Yes.
And so that's one of the main plots. And um, as she is discussing this with the queen, she mentions this is her favorite child. And so that really sends into motion. I'm sorry, there is an ambulance driving by my house right now.
You're
I don't
fine.
know
You're
if you could hear
fine.
it. But then that sets into motion the plot, the secondary plot of um, the queen going and having lunch with all of her children and
Mm-hmm.
trying. It's just like she was having a conversation with Philip, and she's just like, I don't know how a parent could say that this is their favorite child. It's like, you don't have a favorite child. And he's just like, Anne's
Yeah,
my
yeah,
favorite.
just dead ass drops it and goes, and next question. And I appreciated the comedy there, the comedy where she just is so flabbergasted at the thought of him just being so blunt. Yep, and my
Yes.
favorite.
Yeah. But and then the third plot again is the this underlying plot of what will be the beginning of the Falkland War, I believe you
Yep,
said.
mm-hmm. Falklands War. Yep, and so we see these ministers coming and going, and the prime minister Margaret Thatcher really sort of flexing her powers and going, we need to get this solved, get everybody here now, get this done. And one thing I find fun is that the actor who played Mr. Gibbs in Pirates of the Caribbean made an appearance. He's one of the ministers. Mr. Gibbs.
I I didn't notice him, but the person that I did notice was and now I'm gonna completely blank. Downton Abbey, um, Crawley's boyfriend at the end of the series.
Oh, Lady Mary? No.
No, not Lady Mary.
No, no,
Lady
she married
Mary's
Henry. She married.
mother-in-law's boyfriend, and then husband. Old guy. He
Oh.
played the general. I
Oh,
can look him
oh,
up.
oh, yes,
Yeah.
I remember now. But I was more attracted to the fact of, oh my goodness, Mr. Gibbs is here. I haven't seen you in a while. Hey, good job. You're getting work.
Meanwhile, I've watched so much Downton Abbey because of my mother.
Oh,
That
I need to go back. I always stop around season 5. I don't know I don't know what it is about season 5, but I just can't
I
get
have
through it.
watched I have watched the last season so many times. Against my will.
I've seen bits and pieces. I always usually stop at season 5, but we can talk about Down Abbey for another time.
Yeah,
We'll get off
that's a
topic.
different episode.
So,
Yeah. Here, let me
um,
pull him up really quick because I can say his name then. Here. It is not Dr. Clarkson. Lord Merton. And he's
He
yeah,
was off to the side. Yeah, I recognized him.
Douglas Reef.
Yes,
Douglas
yes.
Reef is his name, and in this, of course, my phone's gonna go past where I need it to.
Because he was the one talking
He
about yes, we can get this liberated, we can get this done, we can do
yeah
it. I just need
he
you to sign off
he
on it.
plays Admiral Leach.
Yes,
Admiral Leach.
yes. So we have that happening, but we see her meet with all 4 of her children, and in order, she has a meeting with Prince Edward, who is her youngest. And what are your thoughts on this portrayal of Prince Edward? This
So
depiction
to
of
be
him.
honest,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I know about Charles. I know about Andrew because of
We'll get
all of
there.
the.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get
We'll
there.
get there.
We'll get
We'll
there.
get there. But I always forget about Edward. I
I do
always forget about
too.
Edward.
I do too. He's the one
And
I know.
so,
He's also the one I know the least about. But one of the
yeah.
things that I do know about is why people really like him is because everybody thinks he's really down to earth, and
Mhm.
he's one of the few that's had a very. He's so far the only one that's not divorced. He's the only
Yeah.
one out
Well,
of
and
out of the
I think
4 that are not divorced.
he has, I want to say his children are like 17 and 12, which
Yeah, they're
I
really young.
feel says a lot. I mean, they're young children, and um, but the fact that they're kind of distanced 5 years apart, you can kind of see usually with a gap that large, most of the time, things tend to be working out relationship wise, and it's not like boom, 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 divorce. Um,
Mm.
but
But
I
I
wouldn't
really
know
I
without
follow
that.
them. They're really active in doing engagements, especially during quarantine right now.
Mhm,
The Earl and Countess of Wessex. That's
mhm.
their title, Edward and Sophie. Um, but they're great right now. They're really great. However, young Edward, I was not around when Edward was young,
Yeah.
especially right now. This is '82. My parents were still in high school at this time, so this
We wouldn't be
depiction.
born
Yeah, we weren't even a
for
thought
another
yet.
12 years.
Yeah, we were not born, so I don't have a point of reference to go
Hey,
off of.
I was the thought at that point. I was a thought.
I was not.
I took 7 years to make, so
I was not. I was nowhere a thought. My parents were very much still in
yeah.
high school at the time. But he talks about how, oh, has am I still getting this money from the privy purse again? He does mention that he's being smart with it by putting, he pays off what needs to pay off and putting the rest in a trust fund. So we
Yeah.
appreciate him being savvy with his money. And he's kind of talking about, going here, and he's aware of his position. He's very hyper aware.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
he reveals that he's being bullied and people don't take him
Yeah.
seriously. So I feel kind of sorry for him, but he at first he came across as very spoiled. But then
Yes.
when the
Yeah.
facade began to drop, I began to really like him.
Yeah.
But she has this meeting, and I loved where he went. He's like, all we have is boiled fish. All we eat is this. This is all we eat
Literally
here.
boiled salmon or something. I
Yeah,
think it,
boiled
I know it
salmon. It
was
was boiled
salmon.
salmon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
It's just
I laughed my ass off at that. I was like, wow, he's just telling her as it is. And he had braces, and
yeah.
I had braces. So I related to his
Yes.
struggles. I related very much to being made fun of
uh
for having braces.
I was
And
never made fun of for my braces, but I got broken up with the day I got my braces.
oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Oh yeah.
no. Oh no. Oh no.
But I was 16 when I got my braces, so I was
I
older.
I was I think 15. I had my braces for about 2 years. I remember I got my braces off
Same.
the end of my junior year going into my no, Lies and Fairy Tales. No, I still had my braces in my senior year. I got my braces off towards the end of my senior, so I was probably 16 going on to 18. No, Lies and Fairy Tales. I
Yeah.
lied to you.
So we had braces about the same time.
Yeah, roughly about the same time. Um, then it progresses to lunch with Anne, Princess Anne.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a very powerful and very poignant moment
Yes.
where the queen, it sort of piggybacks off like what you said before of you have everything, but you still feel so lonely because you're not getting what
Yeah.
you need. And the queen is, well, you have your husband. Yeah, he's fine. The kids are fine. I'm fine. Why does everybody keep asking if I'm fine? And she very much goes off about how they keep comparing me to her. They keep
Yeah.
comparing me to her.
She has a lot of jealousy of Diana. And I mean, I get it. She was this like you think of the celebrities that we have today and I mean, yes, Meghan Markle, yes, Princess Kate, but Diana was huge.
Huge.
Huge. I mean, I don't remember personally, but my mother took the day off of work to stay home and watch the royal wedding.
Oh, my mom and dad were both up for both the wedding and the
Yeah.
funeral. They were
Yeah.
very much awake for that. I remember having a moment of bonding with my mom because I woke up early to watch Prince William and Catherine get married.
Yeah.
And my
Well,
ex-fiance gave me
I
shit for waking up to watch Prince Harry and Meghan get married too.
do you remember where I was at when I watched the second royal wedding?
Oh, that was
I was
in.
at Disney World.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
I
I was
was
like
at
you. I was
Disney
like you
World.
weren't. I was like you weren't in the state. You were outside the state.
Yeah, I watched Harry and Meghan get married down in Florida when I was at Disney World, which gave us a little bit of a late start to the morning, but also made us get up earlier. So that was an interesting combination. But
But yeah, so Anne and the Queen have this very poignant conversation where it feels as if the Queen is finally learning for the first time that her kid isn't okay.
Yeah.
And you see Anne get very emotional about how, because the Queen confronts her and goes, "Hey, I've heard from the head of security that you're a little too close to one of your officers, and he's getting
Mhm.
transferred to desk work for the foreseeable future." And that's when she breaks, and she goes,
Yeah.
"You cannot take that away from me."
He is the only thing I have here.
And she's like, "Well, you have this, you have this, you have this," and she goes, "No, no, it's not. It's not enough. It's not what I need. It's all
Yeah.
just," and she just goes off. And you
Mhm.
can tell she's been hiding it, and she's been bottling it up. And she even says, "I enjoyed when I was, this rebel when I was younger, and I could use it as a way to control things. But
Yeah.
now I'm letting the anger control me, and I don't feel in control anymore. And I'm
Mhm.
not happy, and I'm not okay. And you doing nothing and telling me to do nothing and letting it ride out isn't helping."
Yeah.
And I very much appreciated that she was sort of this other commentary of, when you do nothing, you actually don't fix the problem. The problem is still there.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very powerful. And
Absolutely.
I thought that this conversation, the Queen kind of sat and looked and went, "Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa." Her doubts as a mother really began to show.
Yeah.
And the idea of doing nothing is challenged. Then Margaret Thatcher's son is found,
Yes.
and we
Yes.
get to see the full Thatcher dynamic. And Margaret is the prime minister is just doting on her son left and right. It is very
Mhm.
clear. And the daughter gets upset, and she
Yeah.
goes in the kitchen. Mr. Thatcher follows and
Well,
goes, "Well, this." Oh, sorry.
before that happens, Margaret is just praising her son left and right and left and right, and the husband, the father, is not as happy with him, and said something along the lines of, "You did not thank those men nearly enough for what they did for you."
Yes.
And that's kind of what spiraled everything.
Yes, because Margaret Thatcher looks at her husband and goes, "Why did you scold him? They were just doing their job. It's not his fault they couldn't find him." And you really see into this dichotomy, this clear line in the family. And then the daughter goes off, and the husband follows, and they have this sort of, like, "Hey, we're in the same boat here. We are the supporting acts. We're the
Yeah.
ones here that have to hold everything up." And I thought that conversation was really powerful. Of, they're both like, we're these supporting roles. Our opinions really don't matter here. We're just here to
Yeah.
do what we're told, because these are the stars right here. Because he was talking about all this press and this and that, and she was just, doting on him, and it made me uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we finally meet Prince Andrew,
Oh,
and he
I
shows up
hate
in
this
hell.
guy.
I did not like this scene at
I hate
all.
this guy.
And
And
it
again,
is,
disclaimer, we are talking about characters, not the actual people. Although, if I'm being honest, I don't like him as a person as well, for obvious reasons that have come to light in recent history.
yes, recent history has not been kind to the Duke of York. But
No.
then, as the Prince Andrew, what I thought was kind of weird, he goes, "I'm the son of a monarch being summoned to have a private audience with the Queen." And I love that she looks and goes, "Really? We're just having lunch. You didn't need to do all this. I called you for lunch. That's not what they know. It's just I've been summoned by the Queen, my mother." And he sort of is gallivanting along, driving his helicopter
Yeah.
in. But you can see that they have a much better dynamic. But he's also saying
Yeah.
some alarming things.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it is alleged that
Alleged.
Prince Andrew is the Queen's favorite. I've
Oh
read
yeah.
from enough offhand sources, not from any of the books, but these last two kids, Prince Andrew and Prince Edward, she has a little bit closer of a relationship to because they were born in the 60s and the parental style in the 60s completely changed and she was more hands-on
Yeah.
in there than when she was with Charles and Anne. So
Yeah.
she has a different relationship, but one of the things that he says is he goes, "Is it legal? Who cares?" And then he talks about seemingly a porn to his mother that involves a 17-year-old and he's not bothered and there's a lot of foreshadowing in
Hmm.
current events of what's to come. And Peter Morgan has been asked, "How will you handle this?" And he even said, "I don't want to outright, handle this. That's not. We're talking about
Yeah.
the Queen here. We're not talking about Prince Andrew." So
Yeah.
but he hinted at a lot with Hollywood executives and Americans and is it legal? Who cares if it's legal or not? And you can even see the Queen getting alarmed.
Yeah.
She's.
Feeling uncomfortable.
But they have a better relationship. You can
Yeah.
tell they're more comfortable. They both like the food. They're talking about military. One gets very bold and goes, "So when I marry, I was thinking about what title I was going to have."
Yeah.
And she goes, "What?" And then that's when they settle that he'll get the dukedom of York, which is customary,
Hmm.
or it's an unwritten tradition that the second in line at the time of marriage gets, the elder brother to the heir
Yeah.
gets the title. And he goes, well, the last two dukes of York ended up becoming king now, huh?
So yeah,
And
it's
we
just like
also, hindsight's 2020, we know that's not, he will never be king.
yes. But this is then when the queen kind of steps in and says, unless Charles has any sons, and then you'd have to kill them off. And he's just like, well, that's already happened before. And I forget which king it was.
Richard the Third.
Richard the third.
Richard II, yeah, Richard II, Richard III, because it's with the two princes.
Yeah. And so it's just like, oh,
Yeah, just
that's
woo.
dark to just be saying it's happened before, could happen again, and it's just like, uh,
Yeah, this depiction of the Prince Andrew did not go over well. It didn't. I even wrote in my notes, "This doesn't paint him well. This is weird. Wow, what an entrance. I'm uncomfortable." I remember in that scene just kind of looking, but you can see the Queen relax a little bit.
yeah,
A little bit.
yeah,
Then we transition to the Prime Minister finally having a sort of blow up with her daughter. And
yes,
it's finally decided they're going to war, they're going to invade, they're going to do ABC, and she looks at dude from Downton Abbey and goes, "Hey, get everything, assemble the generals, meet me upstairs, we're going to make plans." And so they go into the residence of 10 Downing
hmm,
Street, and her daughter's there, and she goes, "Hey, everybody's coming, I need help making dinner, we need to get dinner on the table." And the
hmm,
daughter's trying to have an earnest conversation, and I love that she goes, "Well, the generals will be here, and the generals will be here in a few minutes." "Well, Mom, you can give me one of those minutes," and sort of is defiant and goes, "We are talking
yeah,
about this."
yeah,
And she one of the things I don't like is it really seems at that point that they both stop trying to have a relationship because
yeah,
Margaret Thatcher's not being sympathetic. The daughter's trying. The daughter's unhappy, but it seems like they both gave up there. What do you
yeah,
think?
yeah. I mean, you can only yell at a brick wall, hoping that it'll move for so long before giving up.
Mm-hmm. And this felt like the last straw.
Yeah, yeah,
And now we get to the final meeting with all the children,
hmm,
where we go to Highgrove,
hmm,
and the Queen goes. They've made time to. She goes to Highgrove, and he's renovating all these gardens. And one of a comic beat that I love is he goes, "I don't want any straight lines. I wanted to do this and do that." And she goes, "Oh well, what about the pool there? That'll have a straight line. What about that tennis court over there?"
it's a pool.
Yeah, and he goes, "But it's a pool, Mummy." And he goes, What about that tennis court over there? That'll have a straight line." And he goes, "Mom, that's not the point." Not the point. So I appreciated that little
Yeah.
comic beat, but we see before even that beat happens, we see Charles yelling at Diana through a door because Diana is incredibly pregnant at this point. She is
Incredibly pregnant.
incredibly pregnant. She is due for Prince. Due to give birth to Prince William any day now.
Hmm.
And she's bedridden. She's been sick. I even remember reading in her book that she had really bad morning sickness, which none of the royal women had. None of the actual Windsor women had bad morning sickness. So the fact that
Hmm.
she had it, they were like, what is this?
What is that?
What is this? I don't understand what this is. So I appreciate that it didn't hold back. Like, it really showed, like, she's in bed, she's sick, she's not feeling well, and Charles is, yelling at her through, she may be your mother-in-law, but she's also your queen, and she just turns up the TV louder. I was
Which
here
she
for
was watching cartoons.
yeah, I was here
And
for that pettiness. I was
I
like,
feel that.
he
I felt
doesn't
it.
he doesn't deserve you. Turn up those cartoons, which I even was like, she's watching cartoons. Weird. And they end up having lunch, just the queen and him, and Charles is like, I don't know what's going on. She's upstairs, she's this, she's that. And the queen just straight up calls him on his bullshit. And she goes, well, maybe she doesn't like
Mhm.
being out in the country. Maybe she's not. He's like, well, she lived in the country. And the queen goes, yeah, but she still might not like it.
Yeah.
She just may
Yeah.
not like
Dude.
it. She may like being in London more.
Yeah.
And she straight up
Maybe
looks at
you're
him
out here because it's close to you know who. And I have a
into
feeling
and
that's what you were right about to go
oh
into.
yes,
So.
oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. I was because he's like because she goes, I was surprised that you went to Gloucestershire. I was surprised, and he goes, well, this over here, and it's close to here, and it's close to Cornwall. It says, and it's a stone's throw away from Anne, and she goes, yeah, but it's also a 15-minute drive away from her. And he just closes, and she dead ass looks at him and just calls him out on his shit,
Yes.
and goes,
Yeah.
you know, you have a pregnant wife upstairs that you're not being sympathetic to. You have this house that is clearly, as you said, this is your haven. This is this, this is that. You have everything here at your disposal that is supposed to make you happy. But no, what are you doing? You have a young wife that's pregnant with your child, and you're not being sympathetic towards her. And the queen comes to Diana's defense and
Yeah.
goes, and she even like makes a comment, yeah, we're two different women, but you need to go take care of your wife. And he came across as so narcissistic and so selfish in this,
Hmm.
because we all know why he got Highgrove. We all know it's
Oh
close
yeah.
to her.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. And she then leaves, and she feels no better about her children. She
Hmm.
has no idea who her favorite is. And we the episode comes to a close where we're in her bedroom, in her dressing area, and she's at night. And well, at first, before that, she goes and she calls an emergency family meeting with her mother and her sister, and they go into like a library or a sitting room or something. And Margaret's like, goodness, what's going on? You called us all here. We're just cool. We're just
Hmm.
cool in our heels. What's going on? And she basically goes, I'm not okay. Drink now. I need to talk to all of you. And she's like,
Yeah.
what's going on with my kids? I don't know. My kids they feel lost. They all feel lost in their own way. And she comes and talks to Philip and does the same thing. I don't even know who my favorite is. And Philip even goes,
She
Andrew's your
has
favorite.
she Yeah, Andrew's your favorite. But she has a beautiful line in this that says it's something along the lines of um Miss Thatcher's Mrs. Thatcher's son wasn't the one who was missing. It's our children.
Hmm.
They're the ones who are missing
They're the
and
ones that are lost. And
lost. Yeah.
she talks about how she feels like she's failed as a mother. That
Mhm.
she's like, how did we prepare our kids? What did we do? What did we do wrong? And
Yeah.
you know, Philip was the good husband and went, we didn't do anything wrong. They're adults. They need to hold
Yeah.
themselves accountable. We've done the best we can given our positions. You're queen, I'm your consort. We're busy doing ABC. We did the best we could. And she even says,
Yeah.
I tried to be present in the bathing to even bathe them, but I wasn't even sure how to hold my own child. And
Yeah.
it's this wonderfully vulnerable moment where we really get to see inside. The queen really drops all the armor there, and we see
Yeah.
her insecurities as a mother, her insecurities as a spouse, and she's like, Mummy said this and Margaret said this, but I feel, that I failed and I didn't do what I needed to
Hmm.
do. And I thought that was pretty powerful, that she just
Yeah.
was okay being vulnerable, because we don't see the queen vulnerable. We don't see her,
No.
aside from this
No.
rock that keeps the
Yeah.
country together.
Yeah.
And yeah, the episode closes with the invasion of the Falklands,
Hmm.
that where we see the ships leaving to go off and do their thing. And next episode will pick up, I don't know, I haven't watched it yet, with the Falklands. I don't
Um,
know.
you won't be seeing much of it.
Okay.
It shifts its focus. It shifts
Yeah,
its
because
focus.
I believe this next episode, Charles and Diana go on their Australian tour.
Yes.
Yes, this
Yes.
next episode, which is kind of where they fall in love. They've been married for a few years, and they kind of maybe fall in love a little bit. Kind of. He still kind of gaslights her a
You'll
little
see.
bit. Hey, she.
You'll see. You'll
I've seen
see.
bits and pieces of it. But final thoughts, closing thoughts on this episode. We walked
Closing
through all
thoughts
of
on this
it.
episode. Um, God, I don't like Andrew.
Yes.
Um, I'm excited to see. I mean, for me, the star of this season, along with the Queen, is Diana.
Yes.
And I feel like that went for real life as well. At the time that this was all happening, the Queen was important and all, but the real star was Diana. And Charles, I don't like. Andrew, I don't like. Anne's husband, I don't like. Edward, no issues with him. He comes off as a little bit snobbish at first, but it would, to me, the most interesting thing would be, what would it be like to be a royal child? What
Yeah,
would it be like to be a royal child?
we got a lot of ideas as to what of the royal child was like in this old system, because
Mhm.
Diana had set a standard of raising kids in a different way, and
Oh yes.
Anne was different in raising her kids as well, because she had Zara at this time too. Zara was the first grandchild,
Yeah.
and we, in this old system, you get to see that, hey, they're all not okay, especially Anne. Anne is
Yeah.
not okay right
Oh,
now,
no, she's
and
not.
we all, us as commoners, we have this wonderfully dramatized and glamorized ideal of being royal, because all
Hmm.
your problems get taken care of. But no, this episode really goes to show that no, you still have problems,
Yeah.
just like everybody else. And families
Yeah.
are messed up, just like everybody else's.
Everyone's family is messed up in one way or another.
Oh, yes, just this one can't hide from the press.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Oh
yes.
gosh. Well, did we do the thing?
I think we did the thing. We did it.
We did the thing.
We did it. So if you made it this
Amazing.
far, do you want to do
I'll do it. Yeah, sure.
it?
Go ahead and check out the links below. We have all of our social medias linked. Additionally, go ahead and subscribe. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Hit the bell icon so that you get notified of any of our uploads. We will continue to upload Crown Breakdowns on Tuesdays. And make sure to not only check us out on our social medias, but we also have a podcast, Classical Chats with Hayden and Liz, where we discuss all kinds of crazy fun things, talking usually music from the concert hall to the screen, and shitting on everything in
Everything in
between.
between.
And so go ahead and check us out. At this point, we should be up to like episode 13 or 14. So there's a whole backlog. Check that out. Check out our most recent episodes and have a wonderful week. And
Stay royal.
Bye.
Bye.